to advocate for you. Patient advocacy is really, really important in your healthcare journey. You know your body best. I'm going to experiencing perimenopause different from you, different from my mom, different from my friend group. If we just look at the female reproductive health, there are women who have complained about endometriosis for so long but didn't know that they had it. We just need to encourage women that if you don't feel well, track how you're feeling and then go see your doctor. Almost 50% of women don't see their doctor until 6 months down the road. Women feel like they've lost themselves. They're like, where did my identity go? What is my new identity? So I think I really do get that dopamine hit with educating other women.
There's an app for everything. Dating, dieting, even dog walking. But what about the one thing half the world goes through and no one talks about? Mood swings, weight changes, brain fog, and so many of us chalk it up to just stress or life. When in reality, our hormones are telling us something. And yet, across cultures, menopause is still a silent transition, unspoken, unsupported, and misunderstood. That changes today. I'm Gayu Lewis, menopause coach, integrative health practitioner, and your host. This podcast is where we challenge norms, spotlight solutions, and have honest conversations about women's health. Joining me today is Kausar, the founder of MeNow, the first ever perimenopause and menopause app that helps women track symptoms, generate reports for doctors, and access content that's culturally relevant and truly supportive. Whether you're South Asian, Arab, or navigating this journey anywhere in the world, this app is here to tell you you are not alone. So grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and let's have a conversation too many women have been waiting for. Kausar, I'm very happy to have you on my show today. And there are very few people who actually take an initiative to create something that's absolutely new and needed for every woman out there, right? I wanted to understand from you, why did you feel there was a need for an app like MeNow? Was it urgent? I know it's an urgency, but especially in cultures where menopause is rarely discussed, what made you feel that it is now?
I think moving to the UAE, I'm coming from Canada, I did see some gaps in women's health, but I did see that there needs to be a lot of conversation and education around menopause or perimenopause. A lot of women have not even heard of the word perimenopause before. They don't realize that it's a transition phase before menopause actually happens. So me being in my 40s and looking at the people I'm interacting with in my social circle here, a lot of the same questions and complaints were coming up. And then I was looking for resources, for cultures that do not talk about female reproductive health. Because I'm a clinical pharmacist and I've always had a hat where I really focus on patient education and how to engage the patient and make sure that they're being compliant with their treatment, I think resources that are culturally sensitive just help further that compliance. So I didn't find any menopause resources, especially focusing on South Asian women or Arab women. So I thought this is a great way to kind of fill that gap and help people. And that's how MeNow was born.
Amazing. You've actually mentioned about perimenopause being the journey.
Yes.
What's, according to you, one symptom of perimenopause that most women ignore? But it's actually their body's screaming loudly.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I think that's a good question, but a hard question to answer because every woman's symptom profile is going to be different, right? I'm going to experiencing perimenopause different from you, different from my mom, different from my friend group. For me, it was joint pain. I had really, really bad joint pain and I was becoming an insomniac. I wasn't sleeping well. I think anything that you notice that's different, maybe women are experiencing fatigue, like extreme fatigue, and they're not understanding why. Yes, changes in their period is one of the first indications, hot flashes, night sweats, but also changes in their mood. And changes with just overall how they're feeling. I think that's when we need to start making note of that. And that's what I do with the app. I encourage women to track their symptoms because everyone's journey is going to be different. And not only that, the symptom profile overlaps so many other medical conditions, so it can get confusing. So by tracking your symptoms and then going to a healthcare professional, they can either confirm perimenopause or maybe they're confirming something else, right? Hormone related. But that's such a great question, but that's where it gets confusing because everyone is going to experience it differently.
You know, I mean, being a menopause coach myself, I know there are 100 plus symptoms or things associated
Yeah.
with menopause and perimenopause. But does the app help you write down what I'm facing, or is there already an automated list that I just tick?
Okay, perfect. Both. So we work together with healthcare experts to put together a comprehensive list of physical, mental, and emotional symptoms. And not only do you pick what's affecting you, you pick your severity.
Okay.
So my hot flash maybe is a 3 out of 5. Maybe yours is a 5 out of 5 and you're not leaving your house, right? It's going to impact you differently. In addition to that, we do have a notes section. Use it however you want. I mean, if you want to write questions that you know you're going to forget to ask your doctor, use that. Working with some of the mental health experts, they really pushed that we have a note feature. And this is why. I mean, one of the symptoms is low mood, right? Or anxiety. But let's put more context to that. What is happening in your external stressors that are contributing potentially so that that person or that clinician can figure out, is it hormone based or is it life based or is it both, right? It could be a combination of both. So that note section you kind of use however you want, but I think it allows for that flexibility.
You've made your app bilingual.
Yes.
Right? And it's also culturally sensitive.
Yes.
What were some of the unique challenges, women from, South Asian or Arab women, their cultures face when they're actually seeking menopause support?
I think, one, we start earlier than the average woman. So I don't think we recognize that. So maybe we might start in our late 30s, but we're attributing it to something else. I think looking at our mums and looking at that paternal generation, that I don't think they realized that they were in perimenopause. So they just kept
They call
going.
it life.
They call it life.
Yeah.
They're like, we're tired. No one's listening to us. No one understands what we're going through. But respectfully, I don't think they fully understood what they were going through. So they just, marched on. And I feel sad about that because they were suffering when they really didn't have to be. So I think when we look at our moms and they just continued on with their day-to-day, it's not something on our radar that this is something that we should be looking out for. Another thing that I think when you look at cultures that don't talk about it, not only do we ignore our symptoms, but we also have additional increased health risks that we do need to be looking at. So it's actually very important that we don't ignore our symptoms and we go to see a doctor. Now, I feel like when women see someone like you as a menopause coach or someone like me as a clinical pharmacist and we're talking about it, then it's like, okay, well, they're talking about it. So maybe it's okay for us to talk about it and to ask questions and to get help. So I think not only creating a resource that is relatable, but showcasing women that look like the community, I think just really helps further them getting help from the healthcare network.
Okay. Are you comfortable speaking about menopause at your house? How does that look like?
I mean, yes and no. There were times where I was talking about it, I'm like, I really do think I'm not feeling well. And again, I'm in my 40s, so technically I'm too young to be experiencing this, right? No, I think we have open conversations. I mean, my kids are older, and I have said, you know what, I'm not feeling well, or if I'm snapping, or if, I'm not handling my day correctly, this is probably what's happening with me. And I think that's important. I have a daughter. I don't want her to go through life not understanding what's going to happen to her. And again, no fault of anybody, but we were not taught about periods starting,
True.
Right? So we definitely didn't have the conversation about what happens when your periods stop. And that is such, I think, an important conversation that's really been missed because it's a journey.
Yeah.
Like it's an 8 to 10 year potential journey before you hit menopause. And then there's post-menopause. So this is taking a huge chunk out of your life, but we're not talking about it. So hopefully, our generation, and yeah, I have talked about it in my house, and I think that's important. I know that when we were talking, you've been very open about it. And I think that's great because then your kids realize, well, mom's not
Menopause
having
is a normal term in our house.
normal term in your house. That's
It's like,
amazing.
Oh, mama, brain fog. She just forgot about it. Exactly. I think
Yes.
it's
Yes.
things that are very normal and natural in my house. But it actually works because we work as a team together. I still remember one time when I was not keeping. I was really probably irritated. Whatever. My daughter calls my husband and says, Dad, Mama's mood's little off. So he actually comes home with a bunch of flowers for me.
That's
So
so
it's
nice.
like a teamwork effort. And I was like,
Yes.
wow, put a big smile on my face. So I like the fact that, if you communicate and then it's easier rather than just keeping it to yourself.
100%. And then the other person can kind of understand, have empathy. Like when you said brain fog, a lot of women complain about that. A lot of women complain about thinking something, but saying something completely different. Like there's a disconnect here. And my kids will be like, what are you saying? Or you're calling the wrong kid's name. And I'm like, okay, listen, I'm having a day. So no, we've definitely discussed it. And I hope that changes. And I hope our generation is the one to change that and to have open, honest conversation within the context. We're not saying ignore culture or ignore faith. Do it in your boundaries, but we still need to have this conversation.
So it's a natural phase of life. It's
Natural
not,
phase
it's
of
not,
life.
We speak so openly about pregnancy.
Yeah.
Why? This is also an amazing phase of our life.
Yes.
So why consider it as like a taboo or
Yes.
hush hush and not talk about it?
And I think it's actually dangerous that we don't talk about it. If we just look at the female reproductive health, there are women who have complained about endometriosis for so long but didn't know that they had it.
Exactly.
But they were too shy to ask a question about their period, right? Because they never had the period talk. So all that trauma, I feel, carries with us. I don't know if trauma is the right word, but you know what I mean. That shame, that stigma around periods. So anything related to periods, we're not going to talk about. But then that's a problem, because then how do you know what's normal and what's not normal? And then how do you know when to get help? So I'm really hoping that, through people like you, through the app, we're able to change that conversation and really educate women. We have a feature on there. We have clinicians who write in. Think of it like you're talking to a friend, but someone we keep the scientific language in there, but we make it an easy read so that you're able to educate yourself from the comfort of your own home. Maybe you don't feel comfortable talking about it yet. That's okay. We still need you to get that information.
That you feel like, there is somebody who's at least going through the same as
Yes.
me, something like that.
More
surety.
And I think, yes, we are talking about it, but not as openly as other demographics. And I think that's why the Educate feature, I put so much effort into it. And it's always going to be free. We're going to keep it free because I want women to, if they don't feel comfortable talking about it with their family member or their friend circle, at least they can still have resources to educate themselves.
Amazing. We spoke about South Asian women hitting perimenopause at a much earlier phase. How do we get women in their 30s who aren't even thinking about menopause yet to start actually paying attention to their body?
One is having conversations like this and awareness. Two, I think we need to get into the habit of tracking, not necessarily with, perimenopause and with that filter on, but I think women in their 30s, if they don't feel well, should start tracking their symptoms. Absolutely. Because when you go to your doctor, depending on what country you're in, maybe you have a limited time, right? If I look at Canada or the NHS, you have 10, 15 minutes. How are you going to make the most out of that appointment? Well, go in with evidence. Take that report, show your doctor, and then they can look at patterns and trends. And then maybe that furthers a conversation. Maybe that's something that their perimenopause might be on the horizon for them. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, right? Because like you said, everyone starts their journey differently, which makes it even more confusing. I think we just need to encourage women that if you don't feel well, track how you're feeling and then go see your doctor.
Okay. And your app helps in generating a report.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And women can use this feature while having that conversation with their doctor.
They absolutely should. So if you're going to go into see your doctor, take that report. Not only is it showing your weight, if you choose to track it, your symptoms, physical, mental, emotional, your cycle, so your flow, and the consistency of your flow. We're not just looking at beginning and end. We're looking at the consistency. There was one lady who was told she was in menopause because she had heavy bleeding, which is a normal way of your period to go. She actually had stage 2 cervical cancer, so it was completely missed and misdiagnosed. But I think if she went in with more data, I think some other things would have popped up and the doctor would have been like, okay, wait a second, maybe we need to do XYZ test. So yes, the report, I think, helps with a correct diagnosis and early intervention, and also helps you have a productive conversation with your doctor.
Amazing. Is there a community feel associated with the app? Do you get to chat with other people? Or is it just me with all the information?
Yeah. So great question. There is a community feature on the app. It's not a chat, and I've done that on purpose because sometimes people do give with confidence misinformation, right? And I want to make sure that we're not doing that. And we are going to the specialists who are able to give you correct information. But the community feature on the app, basically it's events. So you can go see what's happening in your community or what's happening virtually. I mean, emotionally and mentally, there is a significant impact when women are in perimenopause. So we want to make sure they're connecting with other women and getting out there and having conversation. It just helps with your mood, really. So you can see if there's something happening in your hometown. We have a lot of virtual events that are up on the app by experts. I mean, it doesn't have to be menopause related, but right now, most of our events are menopause related because that's what people want to know more about. But it's basically to join an event, or you can showcase an event that you're hosting.
Are there any, biohacking gadgets that can be linked with the app?
That is hopefully coming out in a future version where we can help track your sleep, because that is very crucial to how you function, how you feel, your stress, your cortisol. So we hope to be able to integrate in the future.
Okay. Because I'm married to my ultra human for many years
okay,
now.
Perfect.
And it's the one that tracks my sleep, my stress, my periods, everything. So
that would be amazing. I think that's something we would definitely, in a future version, we would love to do that.
you spoke about your app having a lot of content related to doctors, expert opinions and stuff. What's in terms of nutrition that you offer?
So we have had some dietitians write a blog talking about how you can eat better. We've had a longevity expert write about gut health. So yes, we are covering the medical aspects of perimenopause, but we're also covering, nutrition. We've had a personal trainer do some videos for us as well, for our socials, as well as write about, the importance of strength training and really preserving that bone density as we start losing it in this phase of life. We've had some, life coaches come in and write blogs to talk about, is it a midlife crisis? Is it perimenopause, or is it both? And how to navigate that. Because a lot of women feel like they've lost themselves. They're like, where did my identity go? What is my new identity? So I think the Educate feature is covering a lot of different aspects about perimenopause. And yes, we do talk about diet.
What does your day look like as someone who speaks about menopause, perimenopause, and you're someone who's, you've had the medical background, right? What does your day look like? Did I just catch you there?
No. It's crazy, and it's like I'm juggling a lot of things, but I enjoy it. I think I really do get, that dopamine hit with educating other women. I mean, I've done clinical pharmacy for 20 years, but I've done various roles with my pharmacy degree, but what's been a common denominator is always been patient education and awareness. So, I love networking with people. I've been, you've been kind enough to have me here. I've been going to other conferences and just getting into the community and talking about the app and having women use it. And then the feedback has been amazing, where women are like, yes, we've learned a lot from the Educate feature. Yes, I'm now going to book an appointment with my doctor. That's another statistic I'd love to bring up. Sure. Almost 50% of women don't see their doctor until 6 months down the road. So they'll suffer. I mean, I feel like it's probably higher, but that's the statistic I researched, that they will spend 6 months suffering, and then finally they'll go to the doctor and get some help. I mean, that needs to change. That needs to happen a lot earlier. So I mean, my day is also being a mom first and foremost. But no, the app and promoting the app and really curating really good content for the app takes up a lot of my time.
Amazing. So what's the plan, the future plan for the app?
We plan to translate it into 2 more languages, at least this summer. I would love to add as many languages as possible. There's a lot of cultures out there who there's zero resources. So we need to change that. So hopefully Urdu and Hindi are going to happen very soon. And then we will add languages as we go along. And definitely device integration would be something we would love to do.
Okay. Was there a personal experience or moment in your life that made this mission of yours non-negotiable?
Yes, actually, Flat 6 Labs ran a women's health accelerator last year. So they're accepting global applications. And this is something that I was passionate about and personally going through. So I put together my pitch deck and I applied and I got in. And from that final cohort of 16, they picked 7 to pitch at GitTex in Dubai. And once I pitched, to the investor audience and to people in the healthcare ecosystem, I was like, okay, this is it. I've committed now. We're going to make this happen. So I think that was a pivotal moment for me in Dubai last year, yeah.
Amazing. Any parting advice for our listeners?
You need to advocate for you. Patient advocacy is really, really important in your healthcare journey. You know your body best, right? And you're the only person who can speak about it. Ask questions. Get a second opinion. I think we're so worried about being labeled difficult. Yeah. When we ask questions, I think we need to move away from that and be empowered to ask questions and really educate ourselves about what's going on with our bodies, not just for ourselves, but for the future generation.
Amazing. I have to ask you this question. It's the last segment. It's called the 1%. 99% of our conversation is all about women. But men are a part of our lives too. So what's your 1% advice to the men in our lives? What can men do better to support women?
I mean, the impact on the family and men and your male coworkers, about women in menopause, the impact is definitely there. It impacts everybody around that woman. I would say educate. Learn about what exactly is happening with this woman and her journey. And that's just going to, I feel, it's going to build empathy, I feel, and compassion and understanding as to what is actually going on. And hopefully, make those relationships a bit better. Yeah.
Amazing. This has been such an honest and important conversation. Kausar, thank you for building something that helps women feel informed and in control. To all of you listening, if today's episode made you feel seen or gave you something to think about, please share it with a friend, follow the podcast, and leave us with a review. And what are you waiting for? Grab your phones and download the app now. You don't have to wait till things fall apart to start taking care of yourself. I'm Gayu Lewis, and until next time, Menopause, why pause? Let's play.